Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to Tuesday night's council meeting. Everybody, all the councilors are here. Even out there. Also, we have associates from KPMG to give us a presentation later on. So first of all, I'd like to start with the land acknowledgement. We will begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathering on the land that has been inhabited by the indigenous people since time immemorial. We would like to recognize that we are all in the Robinson Superior Treaty territory, and the land in which we are gathered today is the traditional territory of the Nishnawbe. Especially, we acknowledge the neighboring communities of Nishnawbe First Nations, to whom we have great respect. We also recognize the contributions of all Indigenous peoples, including the Métis, and shaping and strengthening the community of the province of Ontario. We move on to disclosure of community interest. Any? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Can I get a mover? Councillor Hatfield. We'll move right into in-camera session. 4.1 moving into in-camera session. Any move on it? Councillor Chason. 4.1, 4.2, the legal issue, one item, KPMG, audit findings.
Share your screen. Yeah.
We're on camera now? Okay, we still have our crew on the. Mike and Eric.
Oh, are we free to proceed, Mr. Mayor?
Can you hear them?
Can we hear them?
Are we?
Can you hear us?
Yep. Are we free to proceed?
I'm not sure if they can hear us.
Are we? Yep. Are we free to proceed?
We can't really hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
I can
Yes,
hear
we
you,
can.
yes.
With the microphone. The microphone is this one. The speaker is next to this one. Can you speak to see if we can hear you?
Can you hear us? Test 1, 2, 3.
The speaker. Okay, oops.
Test 1, 2, 3.
You can hear us from what I'm gathering, but we cannot hear you.
That is correct.
So we should be able to hear you. Sorry, we're just trying to bring back the audio. Can one of you speak?
Go ahead, Eric.
Are you able to hear us? Testing. Testing.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yep. We can hear you.
And I brought them in on the projector, not in the gallery. If you want to speak one more time, just to see if you come in loud enough.
Yep. Are you able to hear us? Testing. 1,
Yes.
2.
You're coming in loud and clear. Okay.
Okay, very good.
Apologies.
Okay, go
No,
ahead.
no need to apologize. I just want to confirm our screen. You're able to see my screen with the financial statements.
Yes.
Perfect. So we'll walk through the financial statements of the Corporation of the Municipality of Walwa. Again, these are consolidated financial statements and include the operations of the library as well as the business improvement area of the municipality. We have issued an unqualified audit opinion, and this is the highest level of assurance that we're able to provide under Canadian auditing standards. Our audit report provides the basis for our opinion, as well as outlines the responsibilities of those charged with governance. So that would be council in this situation, as well as the responsibility of management. The audit report finally outlines our responsibilities as auditors over those financial statements. Statement of financial position is a snapshot in time. So these are as at December 31st, 2021. And overall, a slight increase in overall assets driven primarily by increases in cash and cash equivalents, primarily related to delays in some capital projects that the municipality has cash on hand to complete those projects that are now scheduled for 2022. Overall, relatively consistent in terms of liabilities that ultimately results in net financial assets of the municipality of approximately 3.9 million. Overall results relative to budget are consistent, both in taxes and government pieces. Overall expenses, again, relatively consistent to budget in prior year, with some changes due to non-cash accounting items that resulted in or contributed to the surplus for the year. The surplus of $3.6 million is then used to fund capital asset purchases. So approximately $3.8 million of capital assets purchased with the $3.6 million surplus. And again, relative to budget, slightly down, primarily due to some delays in construction projects, contributed primarily as a result of COVID. The statement of cash flows shows an overall cash increase of $3.1 million, driven primarily through the surplus of funds, which was then used again to purchase capital assets. The notes to the financial statements, I'll comment on our notes that you'll see in a number of municipal financial statements, and nothing specific to bring to the attention of council at this time, but a full set of notes to support the balances and comment on figures on the statement of financial position, as well as the statement of operations. So I'll pause there. If there are any questions from council, happy to answer them.
Any questions? No questions.
Perfect. Well, if there are no questions, I will take the opportunity to thank council for their attentiveness and allowing us to present the financial statements here before you, as well as comment and thank management for their assistance in preparing the information so that we can audit it and present it to the community in this forum.
That would conclude our presentation, Mr. Mayor, unless there's anything else you need from us.
No, at this point, there's no questions, and thank you for all your work and involving our staff and everybody in putting this together for us. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and council.
Have a good evening.
Enjoy your retirement.
Good night.
We haven't stopped.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on. Now we have that presentation. Moving on to 6, adoption of minutes. Corporate plan meetings. We need mover for this. We need mover. Councillor Cannon. Number 7, no minutes, nothing arising out of the previous meeting. We'll move on to new business. 8.1, reschedule of corporate planning meeting Tuesday, 9th to August 16th.
Yes, so the CEO and I met and we discussed the possibility of requesting a change of date because first of all, there'll be staff absences, but also because of the long period between the very first meeting in August, which would have been on the 9th, to the September meeting, would have been almost a month. So we thought if we could postpone to the middle of August, that would work out better rather than having too long of a gap between meetings at council. And if council's in favor, we have a motion for the regular meeting immediately following this.
Okay, so right now we just discuss it, and then we'll move it to the regular council.
Yes, and council.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Okay. We move on to 8.2, CEO report on satellite office cancellation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will try to cover the CAO's report to the best of my ability. So from what I understand is that the space and storage of the municipality is in dire need. So council did express desire in its strategic plan to make the council facilities in the town hall accessible. And in order to do so, we would require the space of the OPP facility, which is located on the first floor of the town hall building at 40 Broadway. Should council approve the use of the space, we would have to issue notice to the Superior East OPP asking that they vacate the building by year end. And then that would allow us the opportunity, us being the municipality, to issue an RFP to hire an engineer or an architect to review the town hall building condition and consider redesign options that would ensure the library, the council chambers / courtroom, and municipal offices meets the accessibility requirements and also meet our operational needs, making our building more accessible. Also, with the additional office space, that would give us the opportunity to return our GIS staff person to the town hall building and relocate our servers into this building, which would make our operation more efficient. Thereby, we would have no one located at 3 Maple Street, and we would be able to offer that building for sale. And if we were able to sell it, then we would have the benefit of taxation, and it would reduce our capital funding requirements and asset replacement obligations. If council agrees with this, to have the space of the OPP by the year end, we would also recommend that municipal council send letters to the premier, the minister of the solicitor general, the OPP headquarters and Infrastructure Ontario, asking that the new detachment for the OPP be considered a high priority for the provincial government. In April 2021, council did approve that the municipality demonstrates its support and commitment to the building of a new regional OPP detachment and agreed to provide municipally owned property located between the Tourist Information Center and the Ontario Government Building on Mission Road or Highway 101, close to the 17 intersection. And of course, we would continue to support the OPP detachment building being rebuilt in Norwell. So we have a couple of options to consider if for in the short term. That the first option would be a land contribution that the municipality provide to the province a piece of land so that the Crown can construct the building. And again, that is the property that I just indicated between the Tourist Information and the MNR. Or we could lease a building where the municipality designates land, constructs the building, and then lease that building off to the OPP or to the province of Ontario for its OPP building. And of course, it would be leased back at market rate Or we can have a turnkey building, we designate the land, we construct a complete building, and the province would lease back the entire building at market rate. That's pretty much it. I do know that the CAO had met with the staff sergeant earlier this year, who indicated that the OPP detachment would be able to accommodate our request to relocate its offices from 40 Broadway by the end of the year, subject to council's direction. He further indicated that that the municipality work with the province to request that a new detachment be decommissioned soon, especially to accommodate the staff and equipment if it's relocated from this building at 40 Broadway over to its current facility on Pinewood Drive. So in conclusion, staff recommends that council advise the OPP that the satellite office at 40 Broadway is no longer a necessity. We're required, or the municipality would like to have the space back from the OPP by the year end of December 31st of 2022. And we have a resolution on the council meeting following this one, stating the same.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Kathy, has there never been any studies done building?
Not many years, no.
Not in many years.
Many years, yes. To make it accessible, I believe the last one was done probably in the 1990s. But that was a number of years ago where it was decided at the time that we would just do an addition to the Royal Public Library versus the entire building. It was cost prohibitive.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My only question is, I think it's a great idea. I understand that there is a need to accommodate the space and as well make our building accessible. With regards to reaching out to the province, I understand that there is an opportunity to put a delegate request at the upcoming email conference. Is there a possibility that we could request a meeting to discuss this as opposed to just sending a letter?
Absolutely. A delegation request will be made to the minister for the upcoming annual conference, and we can put in that request. I'm not sure if we missed that deadline. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe we made.
The delegation request was extended.
Okay.
So I read that email today, so we should be okay.
So we can put in that request right away.
Wonderful, thank you.
No, that's a good idea. Any other questions? None? Seeing none? Okay. We'll move on to 8.3. Manuel, the water and waste
Water master plan. So the
water master plan. Go ahead.
thank you. The purpose of this report is to obtain council's approval regarding the selection of consultant for completion of the water and wastewater master plan. It was identified in the wayfinders last year. So as detailed in the 2022 capital budget, a commitment was made for the water and wastewater master plan. We put out an RFP a little bit earlier this year. Some of the criteria that we looked at was assessment of existing infrastructure and needs review, a baseline model development, calibration and validation, develop and evaluate different growth scenarios, identify preferred water and wastewater servicing designs and alternatives and solutions. The review and evaluation committee consisted of the CAO, the director of community services, and myself. Some of the criteria included experience and qualifications, approach and understanding, project control and budget. We received 3 quotations, one from Burnett and Associates, the second from Tulloch Engineering, and the third from Crescent Engineering. Having applied the criteria identified, it came out actually very close, and price became the deciding factor. So the recommendation is to move forward with S. Burnett and Associates Limited for the development of the water and wastewater master plan for the municipality at a price of $139,755.98. plus HST. The approved budget was a little bit more than that, 150,000. The other two, just for information, were above.
Very good. Any questions on that?
Yeah, it's a-
Go on, Councillor.
I'm not in the field of knowing who's doing what, but Burnett and Associates, the lawyer.
They're from Southern Ontario. They do have somebody that lives here locally and works in the north. They've done a lot of work with the First Nations and other northern communities. So they do, and they do a lot of them.
Like the-
Any other questions? No questions? Okay, I think this is a good thing because we'll have a roadmap for the future. We'll move on to 8.4 draft procedural bylaw. Who's going to talk to this? Okay, Kathy, thank you.
So what I have put in front of you today is just some of the recommended changes that staff have made to our procedural bylaw. And what we have done is basically have cleaned it up so that allows us to have a hybrid meeting where council members could attend both in person or through Zoom. I've also added the definition of what is a point of privilege or point of procedure, point of order, just to clarify. I put in the definition of what public means. There wasn't a whole lot of changes. And I clarified, like under the rules of debate, that if, for example, an item is missed on the agenda, that a member could speak up and just say to the presiding officer that an item may have been missed without having to call a point of order. So it's just more of a procedural matter that a member of council has that right to speak up and point that out to the chair. It wasn't a whole lot of changes in it. I did highlight throughout the document where all the changes are. So some are struck through, some are noted in blue. One of the items that we did change is that staff reports are due on the Friday versus due on the Thursday. We're having staff are having a difficult time meeting that timeline, so we changed it to a Friday due date, but all other correspondence or reports or delegation from the outside of the municipality are still required by the 12-month deadline date. Again, council members are able to participate either electronically or in person. They are counted towards quorum. Each member has the right to vote, even if they're online. And that's pretty much the changes that we made to the document. Is very small, but just allowing both options. So like what happened last week, the meeting would continue because it can be a combination of. So no meeting will be canceled because our technology does not. And if council is in agreement, I would like to bring this forward to council implementation.
Any questions, councillors? Go ahead, Councillor Chazon.
That's doing Kathy, sorry. And on newly electeds, is there going to be some kind of upgrading for the council and all this stuff?
Oh, absolutely. So just to point out to council as well that on June 17th, we did have a little training session. It was strictly on the procedural bylaw. I am more than pleased to sit down with any member that would like to talk about the procedural bylaw. But what I did was I really went into a lot of detail about points of order, points of procedure. I went through in more detail about what the processes are because a lot of the members are new. And when I reviewed the original procedural bylaw, proposed to the council at the time wasn't new. So I didn't have to go through the final details, but having more newer members, I thought I'll spend more time on the actual procedure. Oh, you're welcome. And my mistake, Mr. Mayor, the bylaw is on for tonight, on the regular. The procedural bylaw.
Any other questions?
That's,
Go ahead, Councilor.
sorry, it is John.
Okay, one of the things I hope new council does is staff reports. I would like to hear from all departments. Like, I think it just help us understand like, why we're spending money. You know, I really want to emphasize that. So how do we go about that if we're reelected? We just suggest it?
I think this will come out through the orientation, but this could be items that will be talked about through the orientation process, what the expectations are.
And you're saying that every department head should have a report at least once a month?
What we're doing now, yeah, is actually every second month, they're providing a 2-month update. We were trying every month, but it's very difficult. So the CEO has allowed it to be every second month, that staff provide an update of what's happening within the departments.
Maybe what we can do is half the staff go 1 month and the other half go one. That can all be discussed with the.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Councilor.
Kathy, I just want to ask you, you said the staff reports then weren't due till Friday. Does that mean we would get our agenda still on Friday or would it?
That will not change the timing of the issuance of the agenda or notifying the public of what's on the agenda. All that would remain the same. It just gives staff a little bit more time to get the information to us. To myself as the clerk to publish the agenda.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Any more questions? And this is a part of updating our procedures, policies.
That is correct.
Yeah, so
So this is part of our annual review for the procedural bylaw, and I was corrected, it's coming in June.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay, we'll move on to 3.5, policy for review of public workplace harassment, discrimination, workplace bias, testing. Kathy, you going to talk to this?
Yes, I will. So the CEO and I sat down, we reviewed these 3 policies at length. And we're both in agreement that no changes are required at this time. And I just want to bring it to council's attention that they have been reviewed and no changes are recommended. So what we will do is just sign on the policy that has been reviewed by staff and it will be signed by the CEO and dated and then posted on the board. And then next year it'll come back again.
Any questions? So that's an annual. Please.
That's correct. And I can inform the council that we did conduct an annual training program with all staff on June the 1st. And these were a couple of policies that we reviewed, as well as a number of others. For example, the AODA or Accessibility for Our Children's Act. We also reviewed our health and safety policies and a number of others.
That's excellent. Go ahead, Councilor Phelan.
Regarding the AODA Act, I know that we have limited time before the next council, but I just was wondering about council. Not that I want to watch a 30-minute video, but
So to let council know, I was planning to have it tonight. And because we had a presentation with the auditors, we thought it would be too lengthy to have another training immediately following the council, the regular council meeting for the AODA training. we've decided to postpone that to July. It may happen in August, depending on how heavy the agenda is, but my plan is to have it in July.
Seeing that we're so close to, the end of our term, by law, just, postpone it to the new term.
As long as it's done before December the 31st.
Okay, so maybe I can make that recommendation.
Sure. If council is in agreement, it can be postponed to November or December.
Yeah, you're just gonna get it done with this council, and if your next, well, this could be city council, but Yeah.
Yes.
any, thoughts on that?
Okay. I was speaking to Alex one day, and he's the Mrs. Hatfield as a house. I would be very happy to share our health and safety and everything. But you know, that's really important. Health and safety is number one. It's not that we have the right to ask anybody, but there's really an appreciation of Alex wanting to show me this stuff because I think it's very important. So if anyone else does, I'd love to see it too.
So I could add a couple of slides for the new council in November, December, as part of that training. That'd be great.
That'd be good for the orientation package. Okay. 9, business horizon is done. Next meeting will be Tuesday, July 12th. Can we get over to close the meeting? Councilor Pilon at 7:34. Give us a couple minutes and we'll move on to the regular council. Okay, we're all set. We'll welcome everybody again. We'll call to order. No members present at the 7:35. Any discussion, here interest? Seeing none, we'll move on. Number 3, approval agenda.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, second by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, June 28, 2022 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. No delegations or presentations this morning. Announcements, giving of notice. Notice that there's a number of things that different boards and community activities. Move down to number 6, adoption of minutes.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, resolved that. Moved by Councillor Jason, second by Councillor Pilon, resolved that the following minutes of a meeting of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, June 7, 2022, as completed pages 1 to 8, inclusive of the minute book, and minutes of a special meeting of council held on Friday, June 17, 2022, as contained on pages 1 to 2, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Motion carried. I see number 7, everybody read that letter. And thanking him for the longest day and smiles. It's pretty interesting. Move on to number 8, consent agenda.
Moved by Councillor Shazel, seconded by Councillor Pilon. Resolved that the items listed under consent agenda, items 8.2 to 8.6, be approved as recommended.
All in favor? Motion carried. Move on to number 9, staff reports.
Moved by Councillor Cannon, seconded by Councillor Hatfield. Resolved that Council of the Corporation Municipality of Lowell is hereby received the following staff reports, a copy of which are attached here too. A, CAO 2022-05, OPP office space at Wawa Town Hall, and B, MB 2022-04, water and wastewater master plan.
All in favor? Motion carried. No release of attitude. Move down to number 11, new business.
Moved by Councillor Schizo, seconded by Councillor Pilon. Whereas council expressed desire in its strategic plan to make the council chambers and facilities at 40 Broadway Avenue accessible to the public, and staff recommended the space utilized as a satellite office for the Ontario Provincial Police be returned to the municipality for its use. Such space would be required to be returned to the municipality by the end of the year 2022. And whereas once the OPP satellite office is returned to the municipality, then it would be in a position to issue an RFP to hire an engineer/architect to review the town hall building condition and consider redesign options that would ensure Wawa Library, council chambers, and municipal offices meet the accessibility requirements and operational needs. And whereas staff recommends that council immediately send letters to the Premier, the Minister of Northern Belt Mines Forestry, the Solicitor General, the OPP headquarters and Infrastructure Ontario, requesting a new Superior East detachment be considered as a high priority by the provincial government. Now therefore be it resolved that Council of the Corporation Municipality of Wawa does hereby direct staff to issue notice to the Superior East OPP detachment and Infrastructure Ontario that the office space utilized by the OPP satellite office is no longer necessary service requested by the municipality, and the use of the space located at 40 Broadway Avenue will no longer be available to the Superior East OPP detachment effective December 31st, 2022. And further, that council directs staff to issue a letter to the Premier, the Minister of Northern Belt Mines and Forestry, the Solicitor General, OPP headquarters and Infrastructure Ontario, that the Superior East OPP region is in immediate need for a new OPP detachment to accommodate the regional policing needs.
And also, we're going to talk about that delegation on that. No, that'll be further. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, Captain. I just wanted to know one thing. The magistrate, the court proceeding is not going to change, right here.
No, that would not change.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to, all in favor? Motion carried. No notice of motion. 13 bylaws, first, second, third reading.
Mr. Mayor, we do have one more item, and that has to do with to accept the proposal for the water and wastewater.
Go ahead.
Moved by Councillor Schaefer, seconded by Councillor Kilo. Whereas council approved the development of a municipal water and wastewater master plan as outlined in the Water Strategic Plan recommendations. And whereas grant report was received through the municipal modernization funding and requests for proposals were issued, resulting with the municipality receiving 3 proposals, all of which were reviewed and evaluated using set out criteria by the staff evaluation team. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby accept the proposal received from Espernet and Associates Limited to complete the Municipality of Wawa Water and Wastewater Master Plan at a cost of $139,775.98 plus HS2.
All in favor? Motion carried. We'll move on to number 13, then, bylaws.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read first, second, and third time and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary, notwithstanding, file number 3518-22 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings held on the 17th day of June 2022 and the 28th day of June 2022. File number 3519-22 to enter into an agreement with the city of Sault Ste. Marie for an intermunicipal service agreement for the transfer of service delivery for all port administration and port support functions under the Provincial Offences Act and prosecutions of matters under Parts 1 and 2 of the Provincial Offences Act.
All in favor? Motion carried. It's no closed session. That brings us right into the closed session, so our next meeting is July 12th, 2022. Adjourn the meeting.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Cannon. Resolved that this meeting close at 7:43 p.m.
I want to thank everybody.